Hey everybody, just came out here on a Sunday afternoon and wanted to get this exhaust installed on this 93 3500 6.5 liter diesel. I got the new 4-inch diamond eye exhaust with the crossover pipe, and so I'll be unboxing that here in a second. You got the crossover pipe right there, and then you've got the entire diamond eye kit right there. I didn't go with the straight pipe. I went ahead and went with a muffler. And so it's a 4-inch turbo back exhaust with muffler, and I went ahead and upgraded the crossover pipe that comes over from the driver's side to the passenger side and hooks into that system. So should be a pretty good upgrade, pretty easy to do. I've already started wrenching on the engine, trying to get access to the back of the turbo to where that exhaust manifold comes off and the downpipe goes down into the exhaust system. That's probably from looking at everything in there, it's kind of the toughest part so far. And I say toughest part, it's just there's a bunch of little bolts and things like that you got to get undone for the turbo cover, and then the actual flange itself that goes around the downpipe. It's just kind of hard to get to, but other than that, it looks pretty straightforward, and I'll detail that here in a second. But I got my buddy out here with me. I got Moose. Moose is my garage friend, so he's checking things out. Moose is my Great Dane. And as you can tell, he's very interested with what's going on, and so he's going to be my garage buddy today and try to help me putting this up. Hey Moose, what are you doing, man? Don't try to pee on my tire, okay? What's going on over here? Huh? You going to help me put this diamond eye together? You sure? You think you can do that? Alright, I'm game. Alright, so going through the unboxing here, everything comes in one large box. As you can tell, man, that's a big exhaust system. It looks a lot bigger in person than you think it's going to be. It is a big, nice stainless steel system. So all the parts are there. Looks like the instructions, installation kit's right there. Again, this is a 4102A. And it looks like it's got all the hangers, it's got all the clamps, it's got everything you need from a turbo back system. It's just amazing to me when you look at these up close, you know how big that is. That's a nice big 4-inch pipe, so that's really going to make it nice. And then, as I mentioned, I did go ahead and pop for the crossover pipe, so I'm going to upgrade that. I think that's taking that up to 2.5 inches on the crossover pipe. Hey Moose. And again, diamond eye exhaust systems. So this one, I'll put the link below of the exact model number for this crossover pipe, and then of course I'll put the model number and everything for this 4-inch exhaust system in there also. And as I was mentioning earlier, the hardest part was really, I mean, there's a cover, so that cover right there, just an aluminum cover that goes over the turbo itself, right there where the light is shining. It's got 4 bolts in it. Then there's this retainer rod, which you can't really see it right now. It's right back in there. It goes from the block over to the turbo itself, and that you have to take that off in order to get that off, the shield off. You see that little square in the corner there, or on the side. That's what you have to take off. And then down, boy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to this, if you're going to be able to even see it. But down at the bottom there, basically where the turbo, I just don't think you can get to it. I don't think I can show it to you where it's at, but there's a little flange that comes off the back of that downpipe, and essentially it's just tough to get to. As you can tell, I can't even get to it with the camera, and it's basically a retainer clamp that holds on the downpipe to the back of that turbo housing. It's just tough to get to. I did have to take off the little turbo diesel or turbo power cover that goes on the top of the engine to get some of this stuff. But other than that, it was pretty easy. There's all my bolts right there. So you know, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts to take out, and then of course that actual clamp that goes on the downpipe. Not too bad. Took me probably, I don't know, 20 minutes to kind of get all that done. Hardest part again is just getting access to it. It's just kind of tight. I went ahead and put the truck up on jack stands or ramps just so I could get access makes it a little easier when you're underneath there messing with things. You know, give me a little extra space. It's got a lot of space underneath there, as you can tell, but it just makes it a little easier. Hey Moose, you're in my shop, man. Just makes it a little easier to get in there and wrench on things from the underneath. So I'm using these little, you know, these plastic. You can buy them at Walmart, O'Reilly's, anywhere. I think they've got a 2,500 pound rating on each one or something like that. I do go ahead and put a jack stand underneath the front just to make sure, in case, you know, that buckles. It's just safety, you know, keeps me a little bit safe. But other than that, you can see the working space that I've got. So you could definitely do this in your driveway. I've got the lift, obviously, guys, but I just didn't want to move out any of my cars and have to move kind of everything around because it's kind of a cold day. From that standpoint. So it's really easy to do on the ground, and I kind of wanted to do it on the ground anyways, just to show people that it's fairly easy to do from your driveway. Okay, got the old exhaust system off, and as you can tell, that muffler is a little further back than the stock one, and obviously if I'm laying it all out kind of to be equal, that tailpipe is definitely a lot longer or a lot farther back than the exhaust system that I took off. So more than likely, and I've heard about this before, this middle section right there in front of the muffler is going to have to be cut because this is probably just a standard kit for a crew cab Chevy, which is a little bit longer than the extended cab that I have. So I'm going to have to chop that down. That section right there, right next to the old muffler, is just a straight pipe section. I can cut that down. There's no flange on it that goes into the muffler. Pretty easy to do, and I'm just going to cut it to where it's essentially right in this area right there, to where I can shorten this up about, I'd say this is 2 feet. You know, it's probably 2 feet too long. But overall, you can see the entire new exhaust system sitting next to the old exhaust system. New muffler, all the 4-inch pipe. Now what's interesting, and I just didn't realize this, is whenever I bought the crossover pipe is definitely bigger than the old one. Not a ton bigger. I'd say maybe, I don't know, half an inch, maybe an inch bigger. I'd have to measure it. You know, probably a little bit cleaner bends, as you can tell right there. They're mandrel rather than kind of that kink bend that you get in that corner and this corner on that bend. So overall, a bigger and probably smoother flowing exhaust system than this one. The downpipe, that's what probably surprised me the most. The downpipe is not that much bigger than the stock downpipe, as you can tell right there. I'll measure it and you know, for sure, but overall, they look almost identical. Maybe in half an inch. I don't really, actually, I don't even think there's any difference. The only thing I did notice, obviously, is a much smoother pipe. All the bends are much better bends. This thing's got, it looks like somebody beat on it. But obviously, from the factory, that's the way it came. But there's just these little indentions all over it that are restricting flow. I mean, look at that on that side. Literally looks like somebody just beat on it with a hammer. But I'm sure some sort of machine did that at the factory. But that's restricting the flow significantly compared to this system right here. So overall, the install is going pretty straightforward. I will say that doing this in your driveway is definitely doable. Would it be a lot easier on the lift? Absolutely. And I'm probably regretting not doing it on the lift because it probably would have made it a lot easier. But at that being said, I mean, that's not that big of a deal. It's just because I'm an old man and getting down on the ground on a creeper is kind of tough these days. But overall, it's going pretty smooth. Now, the dreaded issue that I ran into, that I did hear most of other people running into too, was when I took this off the exhaust manifold, the cross pipe. There are 3 bolts that bolt into the actual manifold itself. There's 3 on each side, and they go into those little flanges and hold it onto the manifold. 3 of the 6 bolts broke, so I've got bolts that are stuck into the manifold itself. Good thing is that they broke off at a pretty I mean, there's still a little bit of bolt hanging out of the manifold, so I put a bunch of thread penetrant on it, and we're going to see about getting some vice grips attached to it, heating them up, doing something to be able to get those out. Obviously, it's a setback. It's going to take some time, but overall, that's really the only problem that I had so far. All right, guys, so other than the broken bolts, everything went pretty standard, pretty smooth, straightforward. Again, another shot of the overall exhaust system as it's laid out on the ground. Heading in for tonight. I don't think the exhaust system's going anywhere. It'll be here tomorrow when I get to it, and we'll finish it up tomorrow and go from there. So stay tuned.